Welcome ladies and gentlemen to my stamina Dragonknight Burst build for PvP Homestead. You will find additional information on my website. I will put the link into the description. Now, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. It is a very difficult build to play because it is quite squishy and you really need to know the combos and animation cancelling. So in the second part, like in the first part, I'm gonna talk about the basics, and the second part I will talk about combos and mechanics and how you should play the build to be successful, because that really makes or breaks the build. So make sure to watch the second part very careful. To show you the stats that we have, on the two-hander we almost have like 4k weapon damage, and on the bowbar 3.7k. We are using Alchemist, Spriggan and One Piece Krog. That's why it doesn't look like it's high, but we have a lot of physical penetration. Shadow Mundu Stone to increase our critical damage. We are a vampire. I do recommend being a vampire because of the undeath, because it gives damage reduction, which is really nice, and obviously the sneak speed in the night. In terms of race, the best one you can choose is Red Guard because it gives you the best sustain, because this is not the pure bow build. We engage into melee fights quite often, so that's why I say like this can be nice. Wood Elf, like Khajiit, Imperial, everything works. Everything that gives you increased sneak damage or max stamina is very nice. In terms of buff food, we are using the tri-set one. As you have seen, we have 35k stem, 25k health and 15k magicka. They're pretty nice. We have low recovery, but it really doesn't matter how those look here because we have a lot of other ways to restore resources because we are a fucking DK. Now, that's why I say tri-stat. The extra magicka is nice because of the utility skills we want to use that increase our damage, like Radiant Mage Light, 20% more overall damage and all that shit. Potions, I mostly use those here. Stamina, speed buff and CC immunity. The speed buff is really nice. We can be very mobile on this build, which is cool. Sometimes I also use this, like if I'm engaged in a melee fight, because the extra health is nice. I will put the ingredients on my website so you can go check it out there. In terms of gear, I have 5 Spriggan, here all weapon damage jewelry, then the Spriggan bow and the two-hander, both need to be sharpened. On the two-hander I have poison. Now here I put the ingredients on my website. This one is a really nice poison, it deals damage and it increases the cost, it's just fucking OP. And on the bow bar we're using a poison enchantment to get slightly more damage. And then the last piece, Spriggan, I have on the shoulder. It doesn't really matter where it is. Next thing, we're using 5 pieces Alchemist. As you can see, like you don't need make sure to have on the big pieces like prismatic enchantments, like you can see in the sheet here. The others don't really matter. Also you want to have 5-1-1 setup and make sure to have a heavy chest because it gives the most armor, and then 1 light piece so you benefit the most from the undaunted passives. If you have 3 different set pieces like light, medium, heavy, you get 6% increased resources. I only have 1 light and 6 medium now because I don't have a chest, so your stats might be even slightly higher. And obviously it's all purple gear. The reason why we use Alchemist is because it gives us 2 health bonuses. You see we have 25k health, which is kinda nice for a medium armor build. And obviously the 640 weapon damage is just really nice. Now you might ask, why not put the Alchemist proc on the back bar? Simply because our best damage potential is if we have both sets on both bars. You don't want to have the Spriggan proc not on the back bar because you will lose melee damage. Because like I said, it's not a pure bow build, it's like a bursty ranged melee build depending on the situation. Because we really can fuck up a dude in a second if we need to and have the right combo. Champion points. 100 Warlord for the cost reduction. 90 points into tenacity. Now this is very important. We do a lot of heavy attacks, and it increases the amount of magic and stamina your heavy attacks restore by 15%. Do not put points into Mooncalf. We have very low recovery, so it will not boost it a lot. On the other hand, tenacity, our heavy attacks, they're gonna restore so much. I will showcase you that in a second. Then 10 tumbling. I put 40 into bow expert to increase our heavy attack damage and also to get the riposte passive. Sometimes we need to block and it's just nice to get small damage off. 63 into precise strikes and 97 into mighty. Now you might ask, why not put more points into bow expert? Simply because we also go into melee fights and you want everything to do a lot of damage. That's why I have quite a lot of points here in precise strikes and mighty. 20 into resistance, 40 thick skin, 50 hardy and 50 elemental defender and 40 quick recovery. Now that's the champion point setup. Now skills. Let's start with the two-hander bar. We have rally. You see, this here gives us major brutality and it also a small heal over time, and at the end, like the longer the buff lasts and when you reactivate it before it runs out, you get a huge burst heal, which is nice. Like back in the day, actually this was the only heal I used and it was enough, but nowadays obviously you need vigor because more incoming damage. Two-hander overall is also nice because you see, increase your stamina recovery by 30% for 10 seconds after killing a target. Sure, we don't have a lot, but it will still go up to 901k, so it's something. And your successful charged heavy attacks increase the damage of your next attack by 10%, which is also nice, because we're gonna do a lot of heavy attack into a take flight. Critical rush, our gap closer. The further we are away, the more damage it does. Reverse slice. This is our execute, in case we need it. Wrecking blow. We do not use dizzy swing because, as you see, like we don't have any active CC here, but we don't need it because we are not gonna like stand our ground on fights. You want to go in, 1-2 combos and the dude has to be dead. It's either you or him, really simple. That's why we want the extra 20% damage, because sometimes you can do wrecking blow into take flight, execute, goodbye dude. Molten armaments, now this is also a very key element to the build. Your own damage with fully charged heavy attacks is increased by 40%. It has a 40-second timer, so it's really easy to keep up. Just be aware, when you try to sneak, it puts you out of stealth for a second. So use the environment. Don't recast it here. Go behind something, recast it, wait, and you're good to go. Okay, that's this, and then take flight. Now this, it can crit to almost up to 20k on like light armor targets, especially if they don't have maximum champion points. It's kind of fucked up. And now the thing is, like, the build didn't I tried to revive the build in one Tamriel already, but it wasn't that good because you could dodge roll take flight, right? But now they changed that. You can't dodge roll take flight anymore. So that's why like so many people try to dodge roll it and then they realize, shit, I can't dodge roll it. They can't block while they dodge roll. Bam, goodbye dude. Because they take the full force into their face and then a wrecking blow or just execute up their asshole and they're dead, okay? Really simple. Dragon Fire Scale. This is also very important. You need this. There is so many Zorks out there that shoot shit at you. Now I do recommend, like, if you play in a small group or Zerg surf with this, like this works very well, Zerg surfing. I know people don't like this word, but the thing is, if you can hide between players, like they can't get close to you, right? But the ranged dude still can shoot projectiles at you, but that's why you have your floppy wings. They can't do shit. Because if they try to kill you, they will get rolled over by other dudes. That's the thing. So very strong. And that's also why we have so much magicka, so we can use this a lot and all that stuff. Just very nice. Noxious Breath. This is not mandatory. Obviously it only has a small range, 10 meters. I think, yeah, why use it? You could use Shuffle here if you want to get the extra dodge chance. but I am mostly dodge rolling anyway to avoid most damage, so it's not helpful for me. But when I have to engage into a melee fight, I use Noxious Breath, then I shoot like a light attack Silver Shard and then immediately weapon swap. And he's debuffed while doing this. While attacking. That's the scene, and your take flight will hit harder. Also, the other dude can't see shit while you do this. When you do this fast enough, you can take flight before animation is over and he will almost not see it coming. Silver Shard. We use this as our main attack together with a heavy attack. And Silver Shard, I will showcase you that in a second on target skeletons. You could use Poison Injection if you want to. However, Silver Shards does slightly more damage and we want to burst down our enemies. That's why I prefer this or Poison Injection. Now, if you don't want to use Noxious Breath or Shuffle, you also could put this here. Then again, most people insta-die. So yeah, no point dotting those dudes up. Radiant Mage Light. First off, this makes us very gank resistant because it reduces stealth attacks by 50%. So no Nightblade incap into your face. Although you're in medium armor, we will survive it. We can reveal sneaky Nightblades, take flight them and they're dead. And it also gives us 20% more damage on the next ability because of Might of the Guild, which is very nice. So when I before I start charge my heavy attack, I use this and then I shoot. And I have basically 4 seconds to release my heavy attack and fuck up another dude. Corrosive Armor, so this is the oh shit button. As you see, we don't have a ranged ultimate. We basically only use take flight if we get into a melee fight. Now if a train tries to roll over you or just you get overwhelmed from the side or whatever, you have the ultimate ready most of the times. And they will not be able to kill you because you don't get any fucking damage whatsoever for 10 seconds. And you have time to run away because you're faster than them. That's the thing. You can dodge roll quite a lot to avoid most damage or flop your wings. They can't really catch you if you know how to play with the environment. As I said at the beginning of the video, there is a lot of combos and animation cancelling involved with this build. You really need to master those kind of things, otherwise you will have a hard time. Sure, you will be able to gank people, but you don't want to die after you gank a dude. You want to keep engaging into a fight. Now, first I will show you off the stuff at the target skeleton. We are not in Cyrodiil anymore, so I have lower health. And in the end I will show you some PvP gameplay and explain the stuff even more. Now, our main attack is our bow heavy attack from Sneak. Now what you want to do is pop your Radiant Mage Light and then start charge the heavy attack and shoot the Silver Shards. So now, it is very important. You basically, when you press this, you have like 4 seconds to get the extra 20% damage buff from the Might of the Guild. After that, it's gone. Now, when you charge your heavy attack, how it works is you press your heavy attack button and you keep it pressed, and then you press Silver Shards. And both the Silver Shards and the heavy attack will get released at the same time. And we can hold the bow attack off as long as we want. This only works on the bow bar, nowhere else. So you see, I press Silver Shards, although I keep the heavy attack button pressed. It goes off and it starts charging again. To show you this again. But the thing is, you want to make sure to find the weak targets. Light armor, medium armor targets, low health targets. Don't shoot the tanks. If you shoot the tanks, you're doing something wrong. Really simple. Now, this is the first attack. Sometimes, because our crit is not that high, it doesn't crit enough and the dude is not gonna die. So now what do we do? There is only one person around. What you want to do is, well, obviously press the Alchemist. Immediately weapon swap charge and boom. So you see, I get a lot of attacks off in a short duration. The enemy almost has not time to react. So what did I do after I shot the silver shard? I weapon swap, immediately crit charge in. Do a light attack and then reverse slice bash. So just to show you how this looks fast. If you do it slow, it's this. If it's fast, it doesn't look like there's a lot of time involved, but 0.2 seconds like can make or break a kill. That's the thing. Now if he's still not dead, well, most people are gonna be dead. If he tries to attack you, you get involved into melee fights, but then you can dodge roll 1-2 of his hits, no problem. And if it's a Zork, you want to keep up your floppy wings, and the Zork can't do a lot. You want to use your wrecking blow into a take flight, for example. So when I do the heavy attack thingy, I crit charge in. You also could use a take flight and then execute, if you think it's not enough to kill him, because most people don't avoid the take flight. Like when they see you crit charging in, like to them, they block, right? But they don't usually expect the ultimate after that, so that's another way you can do that. Now you have seen at the end, what did I do? I reverse slice and weapon swap, because the thing is, weapon swap cancelling or dodge roll cancelling is faster than bash cancelling. Now reverse slice, when I bash cancel it, it's this. When I weapon swap cancel it, it's this. You barely, it does damage, you barely see the enemy, the animation. Same thing with dodge roll cancel. You see, it goes off, but it just hits faster. Now there's a lot of things, like you want to combo down your enemies really fast, so don't be afraid to dodge roll 2, 3, 4 times. But then you have to be careful with your resources, but you really want to avoid hard hitting abilities. If a Zork shoots a meteor at you, block it, dodge roll, because you don't want to get knocked down. Or just block it and then counter ulti with the take flight. It's really up to you how you kind of try to kill your enemy, but it just has to happen very fast. Most of the times if we get into a melee fight, we have take flight ready, so that's why we can kill off targets so fast. You also can do like a heavy attack silver shards into a take flight if you want, and then execute. Most people die. To showcase you that, like when you're sneaking, come on, get into hide. Well, it doesn't really matter to show off. Now, like this, he gets stunned. So in this short time, I shot the heavy attack, silver shards, I used take flight, and I executed. The other dude has no time to react to it. That's the thing. That's why the burst damage can be so high, and our take flight can hit to almost up to 20k. Because we have really nice penetration. Like this gives us 2k, this is another 4k, so 6k, and then another 5k from here, so we're at 11k. And most people have around, like light medium armor targets have around 10k resistance, maybe even a little bit more. So it's not overkill on resistance. So that's basically some of the combos you can pull off. Or like I said, with the noxious breath, if you want to use it. Because most people don't see what you do behind, because it just like it covers a huge area. Sure, if he's zoomed out completely he can see, but it's still kinda distracting. When do we use wrecking blow? It depends, like it is a very... The problem is, it has a charge time, a channel time of a second. You see, it's very slow. So you don't want to spam this, because you will be a very easy target. But versus a Zork, when you have wings up, you maybe want to use wrecking blow twice, and then take flight. Something like that. You need to decide when your enemy is gonna die. Again, don't try to kill off heavy armor targets, because they're just a pain in the ass and they will perma block, but you want to go for the light and medium armor dudes. and they basically need to do one mistake and they're dead, and you need to look out for that mistake. Now, as I said before, it is not easy to do. This build is very difficult to pull off. Here I am sneaking, and you see Radiant Mage Light is activated, so I get 20% more damage on my next attack. Now I charge my heavy attack and then I press silver shards and both things shoot at once. And you see the dude is basically insta-rip. And then the next person almost died, so I just shoot another silver shards afterwards and he's also rip. Together with a light attack, of course. Make sure to search for the weakest target, because if you're shooting this at the heavy armor dude, he's not gonna die. Melee fights, usually it's either him or you. So when we get into melee fights, which we really want to avoid if possible, then like get reflective scales up if it's a dude that has ranged abilities. Wrecking blow, take flight, execute, and most people are dead if they don't block. The bow passive, which gives us a speed buff, is also quite handy, because if we need to run away we can do that pretty quickly and it's really hard to actually catch us. This here is basically the perfect situation. The enemies are busy with somebody else, you're looking for the weaker target, heavy attack, silver shard, he just rips, and then we have the take flight ready. The other dude probably didn't even realize that his body dropped down, so he's like, what the fuck is going on? Take flight in his face, goodbye. There is a lot of animation cancelling and combo gameplay involved, so that's why I say you really need to get those two things down, otherwise you will not succeed. Charging my heavy attack, he comes around the corner, I use silver shards, then immediately take flight, he doesn't block it, gets knocked up, and then I use execute and rest in fucking pepperoni, he's done for good. It's just the burst that makes this build so strong, if played correctly. I hope this kind of showcase helped a little bit on how to play with this build. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Cheers.